I'm getting older now, so I'm refraining from prognosticating on the price of gold and inflationary hedging and government spending. But I will give you my feelings on copper because I've been in copper my whole life. And my summary statement to you is the world is about to find out that we have simply taken copper for granted in the last 40 years. I grew up when copper was 65 cents. And what happened in copper was two major innovations. One on the mining side, which was essentially big trucks and mining technology around big pits, allowed us to essentially expand existing mines in South America at the expense of opening new ones by simply expanding our mining operations. On the heels of that was a processing technology called SX-EW. It allows us to do electrowinning of copper on site, bypass essentially smelting. It's cheaper. You can do direct ship copper smelting. You can also deal with oxide at surface in South America on high grade resources. People don't understand how this changed the copper industry in the 80s, and the copper industry left North America in the 1980s. Where I'm going with all this was for 30 years, I would say, the mining world and the general public didn't need to worry about the price of copper on a supply-demand scenario with US housing starts, because if we needed more copper, we just expanded an existing mine, either by mining technology or by processing. And we didn't have to worry about discoveries. Because of that, literally since the late 80s, I can show you graphs from people like Mike Doggett that have shown this gap between discovery and demand has been getting wider for 30 or 40 years. So something has to change. Either we're going to use less copper or we're going to find more copper to close that gap. And with the population of this planet going to 10 billion, with the digitalization of this planet, with the electrification of this planet, if you understand how copper intensive wind farms are, how copper intensive server banks are for social media, and of course, if you listen to Friedland and talk about electric vehicles, which we all understand, but also just in baseload electricity with expansion of infrastructure electricity in places like Southeast Asia. Copper is involved in everything we are doing in this society. We have taken it for granted for 40 years, and we are about to find out in the price of copper why that is. We need more copper to sustain what is going on in both sustainability and electrification, and we don't have it. And if you understand the copper mining world, you will understand it's not so much about copper production, but where the big discoveries have been made. And to understand how much money has been written off in jurisdictions such as the DRC, Mongolia, Pakistan, Mauritania, even Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Alaska. The issue with new copper, where is the new copper coming for the server farm for Google? It's not coming from these projects in these jurisdictions. For 20 or 30 years, the copper industry has been hindered by developing these large projects. The goal of VR is to put a major copper discovery on the map at a place like Hecla Kilmer, or even Reveille or Bonita, Nevada. In a jurisdiction like Nevada or Ontario, where I don't have to explain to Freeport-McMoRan, you can advance this copper discovery. And that's why, to go back to your question, of all the commodity prices, I have the most conviction as a lifetime geologist in what's going on in copper right now. I really don't think the world understands how much we've been taking copper for granted. And I want VR to have the courage to not just make a copper discovery, but to have a copper discovery that the industry needs. And that is a discovery that it can actually advance.